Hey divas, I am back. I think I am back. Please let me know if you can hear me. As you come in, please let me know if you can hear me. I think I am back. I think I'm back. I am so sorry about that. I had to shut down and come back in, and I did a whole test and everything, and it was up and running okay. So as you come in, please let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me, Angela? Can you hear me? Okay, I can hear myself. So it feels like, okay, good, good, good. I am so sorry. That is so ghetto. I had to actually go all the way out, and I did a test when I first came on. I did a test to make sure the sound was okay and everything was good. And it completely went out. I have no idea what's going on. I've been having trouble with StreamYard for quite a few days, and I don't know what's going on. But here we are. Here we are again. Hey divas, welcome to Spilling the Tea Business Edition. I am your host, and this is Pink Diva. Thank you so much for joining me on this Friday morning. As you're pulling your seat up to the table, don't forget to please hit the like button for me. Feel free to drop down and leave a comment or ask questions on the topic, and turn your bell notifications on so that you'll be notified each and every time I drop a new topic. Hello, hello, hello. Let's get started. Girl, it's got me all over the place, and I'm losing time because I only want to take an hour of your time. To everybody that is coming back in, thank you, thank you. Hey, Angela, Lady Sweetness, thank you, thank you, thank you for coming back in and joining me. I apologize for the technical difficulties. I do apologize. So thank you, thank you, thank you for coming back in and joining me. Hey sis, hey Reen, I see you all coming back in. Thank you. I apologize for the technical difficulties, but it is what it is. We're not gonna let that stop us. It is Friday. It is Friday. I'm not going to hold you long. I am turning my timer on. We lost a few minutes. And I don't want to keep you. To everybody that's listening in the bushes, thank you so much for joining another episode of Spilling the Business Tea. And please make sure that you can at least drop down and hit the like button for me if you are listening in the bushes. I know some of you may be at work, driving to work, or whatever the case may be. So if you can please hit the like button for me, I would really, really appreciate it. But we're going to get started. We are talking about this episode. We're talking about a home-based business versus a brick and mortar business. A home-based business versus a brick and mortar business. And before I get too far, I wanted to answer a question that Cece had on last week. I tried to message you, sis. Cece asked a question about the best accounting system that you can use for your business, and I would I would highly advise you to use HoneyBook. The HoneyBook accounting system is absolutely amazing. It works for me. You can do all of your invoicing in that system. There's so much that you can do in that system. Hey, Indigo Girl, thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you for being here. But Cece, if you come in later or if you are listening in, HoneyBook is the system that I would advise. I highly recommend that one. So we're going to go ahead and get into the pros and cons of a home-based business. Now, one of the biggest questions that you're going to have to even answer for yourself when you are starting your business is, where will your business be located? Are you going to work from home? Are you going to set up an office, a storefront, or a commercial space? And in most cases, depending on the industry or business that you're going in, you won't actually have a choice because the needs of your business or zoning laws in your area may actually require you to have a brick and mortar business. So it all depends on the type of business and the industry that you are going in. But more often than not, the decision will be totally up to you as to whether or not you are going to work from home or have a brick and mortar. But keep in mind, there are pros and cons to both of them, right? When I first started my business, I started out right here at home. I started in my own home. I had a spare bedroom that I made my business office and my storage area for all of my supplies and inventory. And it worked until it didn't. Of course, over time, your business will grow and it'll expand, and and that's what we wanted to do. And it may end up being that it's just time for you to start looking into other options, just depending. And that's not a bad thing because that shows business growth, and that's a great thing. My long term goal was never to remain a home based business, it was always to expand. But I wasn't rushing the process either because there are so many perks to running a home based business. There are so many pros and cons to running a home based business. So, some of the pros is with a home based business, there is no commute. You can just get up. Hey, Nashonda, thanks for joining, sis. You can just get up, go right downstairs, and start working. You don't have to do anything. Just get up and go downstairs. You can multitask. You can work your business and do your chores all at the same time. I would be, sitting right in front of the TV or put on a Lifetime movie or what have you, or put on some music. And I would be working on orders while I'm at home. I would have the crock pot going with my dinner cooked. So you can just multitask when you're in the house. You get to control your own schedule. You start at whatever time you want to start. Some people are early morning people. I'm an early morning starter. I can get up early. I'm also a person that stays up late, so I can also just go in and work on some stuff while I was up. But the thing that I did find, and you have to really take this in consideration when you are working from home, you have to really be disciplined. And then, especially with the line of work that I'm in, um, you have to really know how to properly equate your time. You have to know how much am I really paying myself for what I'm doing, because you'll find yourself, because I'm at home and I feel like, well, I'm not going anywhere today. I don't have anything to do. So let me just go work on some orders that I have, or whatever the case may be. And and I'll just lose track of time, and I'll just work until the wee hours of the night. But I'm really cheating myself because I don't have a set schedule. I'm just working because I don't have anything, so I can't really track how much time it took for me to work on a certain order, because I was just going in, just working as I chose to go work. And that wasn't good all the time. Yes, it allowed me to get ahead on orders and stuff, but it wasn't good all the time because sometimes I would find myself overdoing it. So you have to be careful. You have to make sure you put yourself on a schedule. You have to make sure that you are disciplined, I would say. Definitely make sure that you are disciplined. Another pro is there is no rent. You get to utilize the space that you're already paying for. There's no rent, no mortgage, and all of your income that's received from the business comes directly into your house. Um, when you're looking into a brick and mortar business, you have to take into consideration that there will be overhead that comes along with that. Most brick and mortars, and we'll get to brick and mortar in a second, but there are benefits. So there are benefits from working from home. So again, you get to utilize the space that you're already in and paying rent. There's also tax benefits. There are tax benefits for a home-based business. So you make sure you go check the IRS site, and you'll be able to find the best sources for you and your business. But that's another pro. Another pro, which is a very important one, is there is no startup cost. There is no startup. Well, there is startup cost. Let me say that over. There is startup cost, but the startup cost from a home base versus a brick and mortar is extremely lower. So the startup cost is extremely low. There are no office politics. You can get up and go downstairs in your pajamas if you want to. You have no dress code. You don't have to worry about customers coming in and out. Thanks, Reen. She says she's heading into another meeting, but she'll be listening in the bushes. Thanks, sis. Okay, have a good day at work, and thanks for listening in. So you don't have a dress code. You don't have to worry about clients coming in and out or what have you. And also another one, which is an important one for those of you who may have children at home, you get to actually show up as a role model for your kids. The kids get to see firsthand, how you get up and go into your home office and work on building your business. You can teach them as you go. You can show them how to prep, how to package, how to, respond to emails and answer, respond to customer inquiries and all of that kind of stuff. And you get to show them discipline, how, mommy's building a business, and, these are the steps we have to take. Some of the cons that you have with a home-based business is you have to schedule meetings with your clients and stuff outside of the house. So because it's a home-based business, most of, you don't have, I didn't have my clients coming to my home. I would actually meet them at like the Starbucks up the street to where we could hold our meetings. And if we were exchanging of orders, like if they ordered something from me, I would meet them there, and that would be the pickup and drop off spot. Was that always conducive? No, but it worked at the time, because I was working out of my home, and I didn't want a whole bunch of people, coming in and out of my house, unless you have like a separate entrance. Let's say I've seen a lot of people transport their garages into their home-based business, and they have a separate entrance to where, clients don't have to go in and out of your home per se, but they could just enter, just coming straight into that area and not having to go through your home. So I have seen it done that way, and it's strictly whatever works for you. It is whatever works for you. Some of the cons, another con is you have to discipline yourself and stick to a set schedule, because you have to make sure you are avoiding the distractions of the household, because, you'll have the kids coming in and out. You have a husband like mine that's walking in and out of the office like, honey, you busy? And, you just really have to discipline yourself and just set that tone with everybody in the house and say, hey, I'm working on something. I'll be in the office, do not disturb. So you really have to set a schedule and stick to that schedule. If you say that I'm only going to go in here and I'm going to work, 3-4 hours, stick to that, and then still, go and engage with the family and do what you need to do as well. You have to also teach your family to respect that time. You have to let them know, while I'm working, can you not bother me, because I may be on like a consultation call with the client or something, or I may be dealing with something that I have to really focus on. So you have to set those boundaries with the family if you are going to be working from home. If you live by yourself, you don't have those problems. Then you also, one of the things too that I had to really learn over time is some people don't respect you as an actual business when you say that you are running a home-based business, because a lot of people look at that as being unprofessional. It's sad to say, but a lot of people look at you as you're not really a business. They just think, oh, you got a little business out of your home. They don't really look at it as an actual business. So that's another thing that you have to kind of, do I want to do this or not? Because people don't look at it as an actual business. They look at it as you just doing something more like a hobby and not really a business. Because I had to, have that conversation quite a few times, because you had to explain to people, although I'm working out of my home, it still is a home-based business. Hey, Indigo girl, she said she's listening at work. Thank you, sis. I appreciate you for joining. So you have to really, really look at that as well, because people will think that your business is not a professionally ran business because you are working from your home. And that is not the case. You can run a very successful business right out of your home, and you can make six figures and more right out of your home. Don't let anybody ever tell you that it is not possible for you to be making some big bank out of your own home. And if you know how to maneuver it and structure it right, it can be very successful. Some people have more space in their home than others. So if you have the space, utilize it. If those of you who have basements in your home, utilize that space. Don't let people tell you you can't have a successful business running out of your home, because that is so not true. Hey, CC, how are you? I answered your question earlier. You asked about the best accounting platform to use for your business, and HoneyBook is my answer. Get HoneyBook, sis. Um, let's see. So yeah, you have to make sure that you are setting those standards and let people know that you are a professional business, whether you are working from home or not. Another negative is a lot of people like that customer interfacing. They like to interact with their customers or what have you. Being a home-based business, you don't get that. You don't get, you don't have the pleasure of having customers walk in as they please. So that's another thing that you won't have to do. Also, you'll be in charge, you'll be accountable for only yourself, which is good. But you have to keep yourself motivated, because if you know that you don't have to get up and actually go into a physical office and that you work out of your home, it's going to be some days that you want to say, nah, I don't feel like doing it today. So that's where the discipline and the motivation comes in, because it really does not feel like you're actually going to work, because you're still in your same space, your same environment. So you have to, give yourself a little extra push. You got to make sure you do that. Then, like I was saying, some customers like to actually walk in and physically touch the stuff that you have. They really want to come in and see what you're working with versus just being interacting over the phone or via email or your website. Now I actually have a location. I have a storage that stores all of my event decor, but I have a suite that houses all of my um, treat making stuff for my desserts. And that's where I have my office. That's where my clients come. We have our consultations. That's where I go prep everything for upcoming events or whatever the case may be. But I do remember when I was first starting my business, a lot of people, a lot of my friends and family was always, you should get a brick and mortar. You should open a bakery, because, we do desserts as well. And you have to let people know, you have to know yourself what it is you want for your business. Because ironically, when you start announcing that you're getting ready to start a business, everybody on the outside know more about what you should do than you. Everybody got an answer to everything. And people will try to push on you what they think you should do when it comes to your business. And everybody was trying to push us to get a brick and mortar or to open a bakery. And I was like, well, a bakery is not in my, that's not a part of my business plan. Who wants to be in the kitchen making cupcakes all day? That's not my plan, because, people will try to talk you into doing things because they don't necessarily know the foundation of your business. They don't know, what your business plan entails. I never desired to have a bakery, because doing desserts is not all that I offer in my business. I actually do events. I actually do, I do balloons and so much other stuff. So having a brick and mortar as a bakery just to sell desserts out of would have consisted of me having to hire staff. It would have consisted of me having to be there, all day on during business hours, and that's just not, that just wasn't the plan. So I would have to have somebody there, and you would also have to have, someone just in the back baking all the cupcakes and the desserts and all of that stuff, keeping the display areas stocked with stuff just so people could come in. And that was never my vision. That was never a part of my vision. So whatever vision and idea that you have for your business, be careful who you share it with, and don't let people talk you into doing something or out of doing something that wasn't a part of the foundation and the reason why you're doing what you're doing. Know what it is that you want, so that people can't just come and put stuff in your ear and say, well, oh, you should do this and you should do that. If that wasn't a part of your original idea, don't allow people to talk you into doing it. So That was never a thing. Still to this day, people try to push us to open a bakery. I have no desire to be anybody's baker. I have no desire to do that. That is not what I love doing. I love creating, but I have no desire to be in anybody's bakery. So be careful of who you allow to speak what you should or should not do in your business. Make sure you do that. Let's see, where were we? It's not cost free, home based. Even though you might be saving out on, having to actually rent a facility, you still need to heat and cool your home office space for the day, which means that you're running your heat or your air conditioner, which when you otherwise might not if you were outside of the home. You will also need office supplies and equipments to carry out the business that you're working. Your computer will need to be up and running. You may have to update your computer software. You may have to get a separate business line installed, or and if unless you're going to use your cell phone. But there are ways you can get a number. You can have if let's say for instance you're working from home, you don't want to get another separate business line installed. You can get a free Google number that can be your business number. It will ring directly to your phone, but it'll be a totally different number strictly for your customer and clients that are contacting you for your business. But again, depending on the type of business that you are running out of your home, there may be certain equipment that you may have to have installed. Of course, with what I do, it requires me to do a lot of printing. So I had to update my printers. I had to get two new printers. I had to get like an edible printer when I'm printing stuff that is going on my desserts. I had to get a separate printer because I had to print edible image sheets, and I had to purchase edible ink outside of a regular printing printer that I'm printing other for party favors and all of that kind of stuff. Of course, I had to get a Cricut machine, a sewing machine. So all of these things I had, and then depending on the type of equipment you have, you may have to get extra ventilation in the home. So there are, some pros and cons. So you have to, and again, this is all depending on the type of business that you are running. Sometimes you may have to think about the equipment that you will need to actually be able to properly run the business. Your expansion is limited if you're working from home. If your goal is to stay what it is, there's no problem. But if the success of your business require you to somewhere down the line have additional employees, you will likely outgrow the space that you have at home. And do you want employees to come to your home? That's another thing. So you sacrifice a great deal of privacy. But again, you have to actually it depends on your home. Hey, Betty. Betty said, good morning. Will Duns and Bradstreet recognize Google number as legitimate number when applying to them? Absolutely. I have a Google number, Betty, and I've been had it. I've been had it since 2014. Yes, they will. Sure will. I've been had my Google number for my business since 2014. So yeah, sure will. Great question though. You can't leave. Well, yeah, you can walk out of the room and shut the door to your office, but the mental space, you sometimes need to go outside of your current environment sometimes just for your own mental. If you are living at home and working at home, sometimes it can take a toll on you. So you'll have to map out some time for just you to step outside of the house and just, get away and get out of that environment. I don't mind. I love being at home, so it doesn't bother me. I'm a homebody anyway, so I love being at home. I also work my 9 to 5 out of my house as well. So I work home, my 9 to 5, my business, and then I go to my office. Like when I get off this call, I'm going to my office to work on some orders that I have for the weekend. So some of the advantages of a brick and mortar business. So with the brick and mortar, you actually have more room to grow. You can get more. You can get a larger space, and you likely have than you would likely have at home. So you are able to expand your business. And typically, that's what happened to me. That's why I grew out of my home space. It was like I was my home office space where I housed all of my inventory and supplies were through the roof. Like, and it was very organized. It was an organized mess because it was so much. As you grow, then your inventory grows, your supplies grows, your printing system grows, different machines that you have to use, all of that grows. So you outgrow the space to the point to where I had to get a storage. So again, getting a brick and mortar or running a business period, there is going to be some overhead cost affiliated with it unless you have an ample amount of space. Some people turn their home garages into like their storage facilities. So it all depends on how it works for you. So you have to make it work for you. How I see it. Hey sis, she said, hi everyone. There is all an app, also an app called Phoner that you can use. You can get a free personal number or a number you pay for. It's like $19 a month, and the calls come into whatever phone you have on your app. Thanks for that information. Thanks for that information. I really love my Google phone because my clients can call. I can actually set up a different ringtone. It rings different than my regular personal phone because when it rings, I'll know that it's actually a business phone. And I like that my clients can actually text me on my business number as well if they want to like send images or something to me and I'm not in front of my computer. So the number works well. So definitely there's ways you can get a phone, and then it's basically you can do business on the go. You don't have to be away from your office and feel like that you're missing phone calls. Betty said, thank you. I have gotten a mailbox at UPS and didn't want to add another phone line. That's required by the. Yep, you don't have to get another phone line. Definitely don't want to get another phone line. Another pro for a brick and mortar is some people believe a commercially based business presents a more credible and professional face, which is true. I've networked with many people, and for whatever reason, people think that your business isn't really a real business if you're operating it out of your home. They really want to see that you have this big brick and mortar or this big warehouse. And to them, that seems like, people who have brick and mortars businesses are more successful than your business that you're running out of your home. And that is 100% false. That is not true. You can have a very successful business out of your home and you can be banking all of that money because, and then there are tax write off perks for that as well, writing off stuff for your business out of your home office. So there are perks. Don't be fooled. Don't let anybody fool you. Having a brick and mortar, you have a designated workspace. You can schedule your meetings and have face-to-face meetings with your clients, and they can come right into your office, and you don't have to worry about trying to go to a Starbucks or a library or anywhere like that. So there are perks. You'll also have room for your employees if you need to hire, employees to work in your warehouse or in your office space or in your bakery or whatever the case may be. You'll be able to do that. You'll be able to leave most of your home concerns at home. You can separate a space. And I did find that when I did get my office space, when I got my shop, it did give me I was more disciplined, I would say, because I understood my time more. And that's what is very important is understanding your time when you're running your business, because your time is really valuable. It's something that you can't get back, and you need to be able to make sure that you can calculate your time appropriately when you're trying to, because when depending on the business, when you're charging your clients, you're also charging them for your service fee, your time, your labor, and all of that. If you're working from home, you need to make sure you set a schedule and stick to it so that you can say, it took me 8 hours to actually work on this said project. So you'll know how to properly charge your customers based off of the time. Whereas if you have been just going in working on this said project for this client, you know, all week long and not really paying attention to the time, you really don't know how to charge. You either end up charging them less than what you should have or more than what you should have. So maintaining the amount of time and keeping your time calculated is very important so that you can know how to properly charge. Because then sometimes you're going to feel like, oh, I've been working on this said project all week long. I don't feel like I charged enough. You know why? It's because you were spending more time on it than you should have. So me actually having my shop, it's actually, I'm saying I'm going over here for this many hours and I actually stick to those hours. While I'm there, I'm strictly working on nothing and focusing on nothing but that particular order or service for that client. And then I come home. I'm not multitasking. I'm not doing anything. I'm specifically there so that I can work. So it helps you better manage your time. Some of the disadvantages of having a brick and mortar is it can be costly because you have to pay the rent for the space. You have to purchase office furniture to fill the space, equipment, supplies. You have to get Wi-Fi set up. Um, then, if you're wanting to get a landline phone, a business line, or what have you, that has to get set up. So all of that stuff comes with cost. It's overhead. Just like my storage, there is overhead. I have to pay 400 and some $410 a month for my storage because I have to have a um, heated and cooled storage building. So I had to have a temperature control because I have to store linen and all of that stuff to keep it from dry rotting. So that comes with um, money. So you have to be able to pay. So and I'll tell anybody, before you just jump out there getting a brick and mortar or listening to people tell you that, oh, you need to get a building, you need to get a building, you need to think about the overhead, you need to think about what happens when business slows down. When business slows down, those bills still have to be paid. You still have to pay rent on that space. You still have to pay the rent for your storage. You still have to pay for your Wi-Fi, cable, or whatever the case you have. That the whatever expenses you have for that brick and mortar. If business slows down, you're either going to be tapping into your personal savings or trying to take out loans to make sure that you can maintain that brick and mortar. So don't let people talk you into doing that. A brick and mortar, you don't get any home office tax breaks. Whereas if you have a home office, there are tax breaks that are available for you. So you'll lose that deduction if you currently qualify for a home office deduction because you work from home. Once you get that brick and mortar, then you'll no longer be able to get that home office tax break. Um, let's see. Let me make sure. Think I covered all of the ones that the difference. So as you can see, there are some pros and there are some cons to working from home and having a brick and mortar presence. But if you, again, like I was saying, it depends on the business and the services that you provide. Sometimes, depending on the service, if you provide if you are a product based business, a lot of times customers like to come in and be able to see what you actually have. I actually had a couple people walk in to my shop and they thought that we actually had a display like cakes and cupcakes and stuff. And I'm like, no, this is not a bakery. Everything with me, you have to place your order and then it is made and delivered to you on the day that you say you need it. It is not where we make a bunch of cakes, cupcakes, cookies, and whatever desserts we make and it's just sitting there on a display for people to walk in. Everything is custom ordered. You order it, we make it, you pick it up. That's how it goes. We don't have anything stored like that. Everything is completely custom. So you just have to understand like what business. If you are a service-based business, hey LaDawn, thanks for joining, sis. How are you? So you just have to decide if you are a service-based or a product-based business. Again, like I was saying, with product-based businesses, people buy with their eyes first. You can tell a person all day long what it is that you do, what service that you provide, what products you provide. Some people actually like to come in, touch it, try it out to see if it's something that they're interested in. So a brick and mortar may work best for you. Then sometimes having a brick and mortar, the perks are you may get people who are just walking by who don't even know anything about your business or your products, and they may see your storefront and walk in and say, "Oh, what is it that you sell, or what services do you provide?" So you can get those walk-in customers, whereas a home-based business you can't get that. People can't really physically see. And another thing with the home-based business, you have to be strategic in how do I notify, potential customers and clients about, my business and what I'm doing. That's why your social media presence um, will need to be 100% when you are a home-based business. You have to stay in the face of your customers so that you can draw in other potential customers. So, and we'll be talking about social media presence in another segment, but I just wanted to talk to you about the pros and cons of having a home-based business. You just have to make it work for you. There is no right or no wrong way to do it. If you are um, trying to have a home-based business versus a brick and mortar, you still have to keep business one-on-one at the forefront of that anyway. You still have to be professional. You have to be responsive. You have to set business hours, standard operating procedures, terms and agreement. All of that stuff have to be set. And that's on our topics to talk about on another segment about the contracts and terms and agreement of your business, because you have to teach clients, customers, or whomever how to respect your business. You have to run the business the way you run it, but you have to teach people how to treat your business, because you'll get some people who will call you all time of the night and think that you should have responded, and you sent me a message at 11 p.m. on my email. I don't have to respond to you at 11 p.m. I have standard operating procedures. I have standard business hours that are set. So you have to teach people how to treat your business. Yes, sis said, so true. If you work from home, schedule some you time and get out of the house. Absolutely. Absolutely. So don't let people make you feel like having a home-based business is less than, because it's not. It's equal, if not more, work than having a brick and mortar. Yes, the startup cost for a brick and mortar is a little bit more expensive than what it would be, because let's say, for instance, if I want to start a business and I'm starting it out of my home, I could just start, right? I already know what I'm doing. I already know what the services are that I'm going to provide. So I don't have to worry. I already have my own personal printer, my own personal laptop, my own personal cell phone. So I can get started right away. It's just that going, forward. And as you grow, as more business come in, and as your clientele starts to grow, you have to kind of take a look at, what direction that you want to go in. Hey, DG, thanks for joining, sis. How are you? So, but don't let people make you feel bad about running your business out of your home, because it can, like I say, it can be uber successful just running a business out of your home. It just all depends on what works for you. Everybody will have a plethora of ideas of what you should do, but when you look at these people telling you what you should do about your business, none of them have a business. None of them are running their own businesses, but they know more. They tend to come off as if they know more about what you should do than you yourself. DG said, I'm well. Thanks for asking. I will replay later on to catch what I've missed. Thanks, sis. I appreciate it. But so yeah, you just do what works best for you. You have to do what works best for you. Does anybody have any questions in regards to a home base versus a um brick and mortar? If you are running your business, and some people do online stores, so some people do online shops where they sell let's say t-shirts or custom party favors or whatever the case may be. But a lot of people don't do either. They don't have a brick and mortar. They are strictly a like the Shopify accounts. A lot of people just do strictly Shopify, or some people sell directly to Etsy. They make their stuff listed on Etsy or Shopify, and they sell directly from there. So they don't have like a lot of customer interfacing to where you have to actually come into a brick and mortar. So it strictly depends, because every business venture is totally different. The way it's structured is totally different. So it just depends. Betty says my con at the moment with HB is black people. Home base is black people wanting lower price, whereas other races don't even question. Let me tell you something. I don't know what it is about our culture, but for whatever reason, when they hear small business or home based business, they always want to negotiate your pricing. Oh, we're gonna talk about pricing. Let me put that on my list. I don't think I have pricing on here, but let me listen. They always want to negotiate your price. They come with the beer budget and they have a champagne taste. And she said, well, I guess that's not a con. No, that's not a con. That's just how some people are. And I can attest to what you were saying. I have never, most of my, and again, too, when it comes to your business, don't ever set yourself up for failure by thinking that your biggest supporters are going to be friends and family, because that is so far from the truth. Your family members and your friends are going to be the last people who support your business. So don't ever get frustrated and want to walk away because you feel like the family and friends you have should be supporting your business more. Your biggest clientele are going to be strangers. Your biggest clientele and your biggest support is going to come from people who are complete strangers. So don't ever get discouraged because people are not supporting, because they will not be your biggest support. Because again, when you think about the service that you are providing or the product that you're providing, how often are your family and friends actually purchasing that thing? But they won't support. Now, my friends did support. They will order stuff, but majority of my friends aren't really having parties. They're either already married, they're not getting married, they don't celebrate their birthdays and stuff like that. So a lot of my friends, they did support, like they show up to my stuff, they share my stuff, they recommend me to people. So that's support. But when it comes to actually making purchases, don't think that family and friends, and for whatever reason, our family, some of our family and friends tend to think that they can get a family and friend discount when it comes to the service that you provide. Because a lot of times they feel like just because you do it and because we're family, I should get a discount, or you shouldn't charge me the same thing that you would charge somebody else. But I'm going to tell you this, stick to your prices, stick to the same way you run your business with an outside customer, do that same thing with friends and family. Because if you don't set that standard up front, they'll always think that they can come in and just bend the rule and ignore your boundaries. So please make sure the same way you run your business with outside customers should be the same across the board, regardless of who it is. Don't make the mistake of not. DG said, I think too many of us think the family and friends are going to support us when they just want a discount and a hookup. They always want a hookup. They always want a hookup. You hear me? They always want to hook up. Or a lot of one of the biggest ones that I ran into were a lot of the nonprofit organizations. A lot of the nonprofit organizations will reach out, and this is another thing that you have to be mindful of, depending on the services that you provide. A lot of the nonprofit organizations will reach out and say, "Hey, I'm having this event, and I would love to give your company some exposure. If you can donate, 200 items for my event that we have coming up. The mayor is going to be there and this person is going to be there, and it can be exposure for your business." And when you first starting out, like, this sounds good, because starting out as a small based business, you do want to get in the face of people. You do want people to know your business and your brand and the services that you provide. So if you're not careful, you'll keep getting sucked into the whole for exposure thing. And we did it a few times when we started, because we would donate services. Basically, we would donate services to nonprofit organizations that were having things in the community, thinking that it would get exposure. And then what we started to realize was these same nonprofits was coming every time they had something. They were coming back and back and back, not purchasing anything, but wanting donations for their. And then I had to realize these nonprofit organizations have budgets. So they budget everything. So if you're having this event, you need to start budgeting in your decor. You need to start budgeting in, these fancy desserts that you wanted for your event, because this stuff costs money. And I'm not going to continue. Basically, I'm helping you party for free. I'm basically helping you put on a free event at my expense, because, and then I had to realize, like, how many times from this event where the mayor and all of these well-known politicians and all of this were in the building, how many times did any of them actually patronize with my business? I'm there, we pass out business cards, we do all of this stuff. But from your event, how many clients actually booked my services from being a part of your event? So at that point, I just stopped doing it. We do still donate stuff. We do still do things for the community, but we do it on a quarterly basis. We have a running Rolodex of all of the nonprofits that we support within the community, and we do it on a quarterly basis. We just choose whatever nonprofit or community service group that we want to support per quarter, and we'll donate some services to them depending on the causes that they have going on. But it's at our discretion, not because we feel forced not because we feel forced to do it. So, but we do donate every quarter to the community, to a community group. We donate services, but one of the things were, if I donate to you, you don't get on that list again until you've actually patronized my company. Like, I'm not going to just keep giving you something free, because how many times have you purchased a service from me? And people just don't want to pay. They're quick to say you're too expensive, or I can get it cheaper down the street. Okay, if you can get it cheaper, but because I know that I offer good quality work, I know that my work is professional. I know that you're getting good quality work. I take my time. I make sure that not only is my work professional, but I'm also professional. Whether it be from a home-based business or not, you still get 100% professionalism when it comes to you patronizing with my business. So you just have to make sure that um, they're not overstepping the boundaries, and people are not trying to take advantage of you, which they will, especially friends and family, unfortunately. Especially friends and family. Any more questions? Do anybody else have any more questions? Cece says, "Happy Pi Day. If you know, you know." What is Happy Pi Day, sis? Did I miss something? I'm slow. But yeah, so just make sure. Anybody else have any other questions on the home base versus brick and mortar? Any other business questions that you may have? Any other business questions that you may have? But just do you. Stick to your guns. Run your business the way you choose to run your business. Don't let anybody tell you how you should or shouldn't do anything. And just be careful who you share your business information with anyway. That's another topic that's on our list. as well. So some of the topics that we have coming up is what is your why? Why did you um, start your business? So remembering your why, because that's a very important thing that you're going to have to ask yourself, is remembering your why in your business. Because when things start to people the business start to slow down, um, you start to get frustrated, you start to get worn out and just want to throw in the towel and no longer want to do it anymore. Always remember your why, because that'll get you back on track. So we're going to talk about that. Another topic is don't share too fast, having the right business partner, your contracts and your terms of agreement, marketing and branding, your social media presence, business besties. We're going to talk about what that is, ways that your business can work for you, and the different entities that you can include in your business. Finding your passion, and from passion to profit, and then pricing are some topics that we have coming up. Cece said Pi Day is an annual celebration of the mathematical constant. Pi Day is observed on March 14th, since 3, 1, and 4 are the first three significant figures of. Oh, okay. School me, girl, because I because I didn't know. But we got some great topics coming up on spilling the business tea. If you have some that I didn't mention that you want me to add to the list, shoot them over to me. I'll be glad to add them to the list so that we can talk about it. So it's about us getting our business together with everything that's going on in society today and with who we have in office. We need to get these businesses up and running. We need to start talking about and thinking about generational wealth and being able to work for ourselves, because, so many people are losing jobs. They're just coming in. Everybody are just losing jobs and not knowing what to do. So it's best to go ahead and start setting yourself up for success and building the businesses and making sure the businesses are working for you. You're going to get to a point eventually, you're not going to have to do as much work because the business will be working for you. But again, we have to start at these beginning phases, have getting it started, and making sure we are running them professionally, and making sure we're running them legally, and we have everything set up and running the way that it should be running, so that we don't have to so that we don't get so far into the business that we forget some of the steps, and then we have to take a step back and start all over again. So just learning. And then even with business, let's say for instance with business, and business slows down because the industry that I'm in is a very trendy industry. It's a very saturated industry. There's so many people in my community that is doing the same thing, but you can't let that get you down. You can't let that intimidate you because other people are doing it. You just have to find what they're not doing and you do that thing. Find the thing that makes your company stands out over everybody else that is doing it in your area, and don't get intimidated by it. How many people do you know that have t-shirt businesses that's out here making t-shirts? So many people are making t-shirts. But you can't let that stop you from deciding if whether or not you want to start your own t-shirt business. You shouldn't let that intimidate you. So yeah, just make sure you're doing what you do. So again, like I was saying, if you're currently in business and with things changing, business slow down. There are time frames to where business is slow. I get super, super, super busy doing wedding season. Wedding season is between May and September. So those are super, super busy months for me. Excuse me. Then prom, and then there's you have the prom seasons and um, birthdays or what have you. You are going to have some clientele that's going to be with you um, for as long as you're in business. You may have some customers that may come here and there. You may have some customers who may um, purchase something from you this month, and you won't hear from them again for another year or so, if ever. But you can't let that stop you. You just have to know how to pivot within the business. If things start to slow down, you just have to know how to pivot in the business and um, incorporate new things. So that's a great, let me put that down, how to pivot, because I've had to do that. Have to pivot. What can we do during our slow time, during the time that business isn't as booming as it was, a few months ago, because you can go, like I'll tell people all the time, we will have months to where I can get 25K for a wedding this month. And then the next 3 months is super slow. I may have someone to order, cupcakes this week, or I may have somebody to order some balloons next week, or I may have somebody to order some party favors, 2 weeks from that. And it's not steady, it's just fluctuate. And I can say this year started off really, really slow because, the economy, everything is expensive. A lot of people are not having milestone celebrations like they used to. It used to be a party every week, So money is funny. So when money gets funny, you have to know how to pivot, especially if you are a product and a service-based business. How are you going to continue having revenue come in when money is funny, when your clients don't really have it like that because everything else is super expensive? So who wants to spend, $50 for some chocolate dipped strawberries, or who have the money to have a $1,500? That's my timer. So who have $1,500 to have a birthday party celebration? You have to kind of know that, okay, now it's time to pivot a little bit. What is it can we offer our customers to keep them engaged, to keep them coming back? Like, what kind of specials can we run? Like, what kind of sales can we have? What kind of discounts can we afford to give? Because money is funny with them, but money is funny with us as well. So when you have this overhead on this brick and mortar, you still have to pay your employees, you still have to pay the rent, the electricity, and all of those expenses at that brick and mortar. Whereas if you're running that business at home and business gets slow, hey, business is slow, but I still got my roof over my head because it did not change where I lived, because I'm running a home-based business. So you don't have to have those extra added stresses of trying to maintain a brick and mortar expense versus your home-based expenses, because you are running it from home. Hey, Sandra, thanks for joining, sis. How are you? Hey, Deborah. Thanks for joining. Sandra said, I don't have a business, but at my age, I can't figure out what to do. Working in a factory for 13 years, but want to change in career. So you want to change in career. So in regards to a business, like I tell people, what is it that you like to do? Find something that you like to do and let it make money for you. Because starting a business all starts from a passion. It all starts from a hobby. It all starts from something that you really, really enjoy doing. Make a business out of it. That's typically how it always starts. It does not start with us just waking up one day and like, oh, I got an idea of this random business that I want to start. It all starts from something that you're really passionate about doing. And I'll tell people quickly, if you are getting in business, make sure you're doing something that you enjoy doing. Because when you no longer enjoy, when it seems like work, um, you're not going to be interested in doing it. So it has to be something that you really do get an enjoyment out of doing it. What I do, I love it. I love doing. I'm a creative. I absolutely love it. It never seems like work when I'm designing a cake, a dessert, party favors, or I'm going into an empty space and I'm setting up the decor. I absolutely love it. It's something that I love, love, love doing. I have been doing it for so long, and I can promise you there has not been a day that I have said that I don't want to do this anymore. I've never had that moment. So that's why I will stress to people, make sure you're doing something. And a lot of people got into this industry because it was a money grab. The event design company industry is a $1 billion industry. It is money to be made. Do you hear me? That's why when COVID happened, it was so many people jumping in and wanting to get event spaces. And now I'm an event designer. Now I'm a custom treat maker and all of this stuff. People wanted to do it because it was money to be made. But the thing is, just because there's money in it does not mean it is for you. Because quality over quantity any day. I would rather have 5 faithful customers than 15 customers that'll come halfway, want to pay just to say I'm booked and busy. I really want to have customers that I know are going to pay. They're not going to question. They're not going to question my prices. They trust that I'm going to provide the services that they are paying for. Quality over quantity any day. Betty said, true. My niece is a great artist and won a lot of awards, but she said it's not something she wants to do as a business. Yeah, you have to really, really enjoy it. And I'll tell people, um, I think I mentioned this last week. I used to do hair back in the day. That was my weekend money. I did hair every weekend. I was banking on the weekend, but that is not something that I'm interested in doing. That is not my ministry. I do not want to be in anybody's shop doing hair all day. That is not my thing. So make sure it is something that you enjoy doing because you'll soon lose interest in it. It becomes like work. You're not motivated to do it. It'll seem like work. So make sure it's something that you enjoy doing and not because there's money to be made in that particular industry or with that particular service. Because when the money slows down, then you'll no longer want to do it. But when the money slows down and you're doing something that you enjoy doing, you just find better ways at doing it so that you can keep the money flowing. You won't second guess whether or not should I be doing this or should I do something else. You won't do that. I've never had a second thought about whether or not what I'm doing was actually something that I wanted to continue doing. It is. I just see it expanding even more than what it is because it's something that I really enjoy doing. So yeah. Any other questions? We are at our hour. I tried to go over a few more minutes because we did have some technical difficulties in the beginning. Thank you all for hopping back in. I don't know what was going on with StreamYard. Maybe because it's Friday and it want to be tripping, want to be blocking. Sandra says, thanks for the advice. You're welcome. You are so welcome. But that concludes our segment of Spilling the Business Tea with Pink Table Topics. I appreciate y'all for being here. Thanks again, like I said, for coming back in when I had to shut the line down and restart all over again. I hope you were able to take some notes. I hope you were able to get some insight on how to the difference between a brick and mortar versus a home-based business. If you are running a home-based business, you rock it out. Make it do what it do. Don't even worry about what anybody is saying. You do what you do and let it work for you. So if you have some questions that you didn't get a chance to answer because maybe you were at work listening in or whatever the case may be, shoot me a message over on Instagram, Pink Table Topics. Put the question there, drop down in the comments. Later, leave the question. I get the notifications when you all leave a question and I'll respond to them as I get them. So make sure you feel free to ask any questions that you have. You're welcome. You're welcome, Keisha. Thanks for joining. Sis said such valuable advice and information. Thanks, sis. I appreciate you for being here. Cece, thank you. She says great content and information. Thank you. I really appreciate you. Hey, Deborah, did I speak to you, sis? But again, thank you so much for joining us. Join me right back here next week, Friday, 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time for another segment of Spilling the Tea, the business tea that is. And I will chat with you soon. And don't forget, check us out with the No Cap Show over on Chit Chat with QT's channel tonight, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. You don't want to miss it. Meet us over there. We are going to have some fun. It's going to be amazing. And enjoy the rest of you all's day. It's Friday. The sun is shining here. I'm getting ready to leave here now and go over to my shop because I got to do some cake and some cupcakes. Keisha said, yes, working, can't really be on my phone. Okay, sis, don't get in no trouble, girl. But thanks for listening in. But y'all have a good day. And until next week, Friday, again, 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time, right here on Pink Table Topics, Spilling the Business Tea. See you later. Have a good night.